Day 17 in the month of October daily. Bible study from the book of Proverbs chapter 17 verse 1 to 28. New King James Version. It says, "The Lord tests hearts." In this chapter, Solomon offers practical wisdom for everyday living. He addresses themes such as peace, humility, the value of wisdom, relationships, and the importance of one's character. Let's dive into the chapter, verse by verse, with real-life illustrations to help us apply these principles in our daily lives. Verse 1. Better is a dry morsel with quietness than a house full of feasting with strife. This verse teaches that peace and contentment in a modest life are more valuable than wealth and abundance accompanied by conflict. In modern life, this could be likened to the choice between living in a peaceful, small home with a close-knit family versus living in a luxurious mansion where arguments and bitterness abound. Imagine two families. One lives in a small house, but they eat together peacefully, laugh, and support each other. The other lives in a big mansion with constant arguing and tension. According to Proverbs, the first family is better off because they have quietness and peace. Verse 2. A wise servant will rule over a son who causes shame, and will share an inheritance among the brothers. This verse emphasizes that wisdom and responsibility matter more than social status or birthright. A servant who acts wisely may be elevated above a son who brings shame to the family. In the workplace, an employee who is diligent and responsible can end up in a higher position than a manager's child who has been handed the job but behaves recklessly. Wisdom and good conduct are always rewarded, even more than family connections. Verse 3. The refining pot is for silver and the furnace for gold, but the Lord tests the hearts. Just as silver and gold are purified by fire, God tests our hearts through life's challenges to reveal our true character. Trials refine us spiritually, shaping our inner selves. Think of a difficult time when you faced hardships. Often, such challenges reveal who we are deep inside: our patience, our faith, and our reliance on God. Like gold being refined in fire, our hearts are tested to bring out the best in us. Verse 4. An evildoer gives heed to false lips. A liar listens eagerly to a spiteful tongue. Those who are inclined to do evil are drawn to gossip, lies, and slander. Evil people are more likely to listen to and be influenced by false information. In everyday situations, people who enjoy gossip or spreading rumors are likely to believe lies without checking facts. If someone delights in hearing bad things about others, it reflects something wrong in their own heart. Verse 5. He who mocks the poor reproaches his maker. He who is glad at calamity will not go unpunished. Mocking or mistreating the poor is offensive to God because it disrespects His creation. Additionally, rejoicing in someone's misfortune invites punishment. When someone sees a homeless person and sneers at their condition, they are indirectly mocking God, who created every human being in His image. Compassion, rather than mockery, should guide our actions. Verse 6. Children's children are the crown of old men, and the glory of children is their father. Grandchildren are a source of pride and joy for the elderly, while children take pride in their fathers. Family legacy and relationships bring honor. A grandparent who sees their grandchildren thriving feels proud and honored. Similarly, children who grow up admiring their father's integrity feel a deep sense of pride in their family. Verse 7. Excellent speech is not becoming to a fool, much less lying lips to a prince. This verse highlights that a fool should not speak words of wisdom, as it would be unnatural. Similarly, leaders, like princes, should not speak lies; it would betray their status. A person known for reckless behavior may try to give advice, but their reputation makes it difficult for others to take them seriously. On the other hand, when leaders lie, it damages their credibility and authority. Verse 8. A present is a precious stone in the eyes of its possessor. Wherever he turns, he prospers. This verse suggests that a gift can be highly valuable to the one who receives it, making the giver feel prosperous. Consider how a small act of kindness, like a gift or a favor, can open doors and build goodwill in relationships. In some cultures, gifting is an important part of forming strong social bonds, leading to success and harmony. Verse 9. He who covers a transgression seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates friends. Forgiving and moving on from an offense is an act of love, while constantly bringing up past wrongs leads to broken relationships. In friendships, someone who constantly reminds you of past mistakes can cause a rift, but a friend who forgives and forgets fosters love and trust. Verse 10. Rebuke is more effective for a wise man than 100 blows on a fool. A wise person can accept correction and learn from it, but no amount of punishment can change a fool's heart. In everyday life, some people grow wiser from criticism, while others refuse to change no matter how many consequences they face. A wise person values correction because it leads to growth. Verse 11. An evil man seeks only rebellion. Therefore a cruel messenger will be sent against him. This verse warns that a rebellious person, someone who constantly seeks to oppose authority and stir up trouble, will eventually face harsh consequences. Consider someone who continually breaks the rules at work or defies the law. Eventually, they will face serious repercussions, such as losing their job or legal punishment. In life, rebellion without cause attracts harsh consequences. Verse 12. Let a man meet a bear robbed of her cubs, rather than a fool in his folly. This vivid imagery tells us that encountering a fool in their foolish behavior is more dangerous than coming face to face with an angry mother bear. The foolish person is unpredictable and destructive in their folly. Imagine trying to reason with someone who is irrational in their anger, or stubborn in their wrong ways. It can feel more dangerous than facing a wild animal. You can't predict what they will do, and their decisions can bring harm to everyone around them. Verse 13. Whoever rewards evil for good, evil will not depart from his house. This verse emphasizes the seriousness of repaying good deeds with evil actions. If someone responds to kindness with cruelty or harm, they invite continued trouble and misfortune into their life. Think of someone who is helped by a friend, but then betrays that friend for personal gain. Their ungrateful and unjust actions set off a cycle of negative consequences, not just for themselves but also for their family and surroundings. Verse 14. The beginning of strife is like releasing water. Therefore stop contention before a quarrel starts. Here, Solomon compares the start of a conflict to a small crack in a dam that can lead to a flood. The message is clear: it's better to address disagreements early, before they escalate into full-blown arguments. Imagine a small misunderstanding at work that could easily be clarified. If left unresolved, it might grow into a major conflict that affects not only the people directly involved, but also the entire team. It's always easier to resolve an issue when it's small. Verse 15. He who justifies the wicked, and he who condemns the just, both of them alike are an abomination to the Lord. This verse highlights that God detests injustice, whether it's excusing the guilty or condemning the innocent. Justice is central to God's character, and both of these actions go against his nature. In legal systems or everyday life, when people twist the truth to protect the guilty or blame the innocent, it damages society's moral foundation. This verse reminds us that fairness and integrity are crucial to God. Verse 16. Why is there in the hand of a fool the purchase price of wisdom, since he has no heart for it? The verse points out the irony of a fool having the means to acquire wisdom, like money or opportunity, but lacking the desire or willingness to seek it. Without the right mindset, resources for learning and growth are wasted. Imagine someone who has access to great education and advice, but is too stubborn or uninterested to take advantage of it. They might attend the best schools or receive valuable guidance, but if their heart isn't open to learning, it's all in vain. Verse 17. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. True friendship is steady and reliable in every season of life. A true friend sticks close not just during the good times, but also through challenges. Similarly, family members, like a brother, are meant to support one another in times of hardship. Think of the friend who sticks by you through a health crisis or financial difficulty, even when others drift away. Or consider a sibling who stands by your side in times of need. Genuine loyalty in tough times is a hallmark of true friendship and family bonds. Verse 18. A man devoid of understanding shakes hands in a pledge and becomes surety for his friend. This verse warns against making careless financial commitments for others, especially when one lacks the wisdom to understand the risks involved. It cautions against becoming a guarantor, surety, without thinking through the consequences. In modern terms, this might look like someone co-signing a loan for a friend, without considering whether the friend will be able to pay it back. If the friend defaults, the guarantor is left to bear the financial burden. It's wise to be cautious in such decisions. Verse 19. He who loves transgression loves strife, and he who exalts his gate seeks destruction. This verse teaches that someone who enjoys wrongdoing and rebellion also invites conflict into their life. Exalting one's gate, a symbol of pride or showing off, only leads to downfall. Picture someone who constantly breaks rules and shows off their wealth or status. They may gain temporary attention, but their actions will likely lead to trouble and downfall in the long run. Pride often precedes destruction. Verse 20. He who has a deceitful heart finds no good, and he who has a perverse tongue falls into evil. This verse emphasizes that dishonesty and corrupt speech lead to negative outcomes. A deceitful heart cannot experience true goodness, and speaking perversely only brings more harm. Think of someone who consistently lies or manipulates others to get ahead. While they may succeed temporarily, their actions eventually catch up with them, leading to loss of trust, damaged relationships, and self-destruction. Verse 21. He who begets a scoffer does so to his sorrow, and the father of a fool has no joy. Parents feel deep sorrow when their children grow up to mock others or live foolishly. Raising a scoffer, a person who ridicules what is good, brings heartache rather than joy. Imagine a parent who sees their child constantly mocking others, or making unwise decisions that harm themselves and those around them. It brings sorrow to watch someone they love walk down a destructive path. Verse 22. A merry heart does good, like medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones. A joyful heart brings healing and vitality, while a crushed or broken spirit drains one's life and energy. This verse teaches the power of a positive attitude and the detrimental effects of despair. Think of someone who faces illness but maintains a positive outlook, finding moments of joy and laughter. Their attitude often aids in their recovery. On the other hand, someone overwhelmed by despair may feel physically and emotionally depleted, leading to further decline. Verse 23. A wicked man accepts a bribe behind the back to pervert the ways of justice. This verse warns about corruption. A person who secretly accepts a bribe to influence justice undermines fairness and morality. Such actions corrupt society and lead to the perversion of justice. Think of a judge who takes money to favor one party over another in court. While the decision may seem to benefit one person temporarily, it damages the trust people have in the justice system and eventually brings harm to the community as a whole. Verse 24. Wisdom is in the sight of him who has understanding, but the eyes of a fool are on the ends of the earth. The wise focus on what is practical and within reach, while a fool constantly chases distant or unrealistic goals, neglecting what is important. Imagine someone who is always dreaming of big, unrealistic ventures while ignoring the responsibilities they have right now. They might be obsessed with schemes that lead nowhere, while the wise person works steadily, making progress in small, meaningful ways. Verse 25. A foolish son is a grief to his father, and bitterness to her who bore him. This verse highlights the deep sorrow that parents feel when their children act foolishly. It causes them grief and heartache when their child strays into unwise and destructive behavior. Picture a parent whose child has fallen into a life of bad decisions. Whether it's substance abuse, law-breaking, or reckless behavior, the parents feel helpless and heartbroken, as the choices their child makes lead them down a path of destruction. Verse 26. Also, to punish the righteous is not good, nor to strike princes for their uprightness. It is wrong to punish or harm someone for doing what is right. This verse condemns unjust treatment of the innocent, especially when those in authority or leadership are mistreated for standing up for truth. Consider a whistleblower at a company who is punished or fired for revealing corruption or wrongdoing. Though they were acting with integrity, they face consequences because of the unrighteous decisions of others. This verse reminds us that such injustice is against God's principles. Verse 27. He who has knowledge spares his words, and a man of understanding is of a calm spirit. A wise person knows when to be silent and does not waste words. They maintain a calm demeanor, showing self-control and understanding in how they communicate. Think of someone in a heated argument who chooses to remain calm and speak few words. Their wisdom and restraint prevent the situation from escalating, and they are respected for their maturity. In contrast, those who speak without thinking often make the situation worse. Verse 28. Even a fool is counted wise when he holds his peace. When he shuts his lips, he is considered perceptive. This verse teaches that even a fool can appear wise by simply remaining silent. Often, saying nothing is better than speaking foolishly. Imagine someone who knows very little about a subject, but chooses to listen rather than speak. Others may assume they are knowledgeable, simply because they aren't offering uninformed opinions. Silence, in this case, can be mistaken for wisdom, while speaking without understanding reveals folly. Conclusion of Proverbs 17. Proverbs 17 offers deep wisdom about the consequences of our actions, the value of silence, the importance of justice, and the power of relationships. It shows how critical it is to pursue peace, wisdom, and integrity in all aspects of life. The chapter also reminds us of the profound impact our choices have on ourselves, our families, and our communities. By living according to the principles outlined here, we align ourselves with God's will and avoid the pitfalls of folly and strife. This chapter encourages us to 1. Value peace over material wealth, verse 1. 2. Seek wisdom and responsibility in our actions, verse 2. 3. Recognize that God tests the heart and shapes us through challenges, verse 3. 4. Treat others with kindness and justice, especially the poor, verse 5. 5. Cultivate healthy relationships, practicing forgiveness and loyalty, verses 9, 17. 6. Embrace the power of calmness and measured speech, verses 27 to 28. By applying these truths, we can live a life that pleases God and brings peace to ourselves and those around us. May the good Lord bless His word in our hearts and help us to be doers of His word. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Kindly subscribe and turn on post notification for more prayers and Bible reading. God bless you.